Today on Pro Church Daily, we talk about how to explain the importance of digital media to your pastor.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Daily, the show where in 10 minutes or less you'll get your daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills. I'm joined as always by the boss man, it's Brady Shearer. And today we're talking about how to explain to your pastor the importance of digital media.
We are living right now through the single biggest communication shift in the last 500 years. We added that line into the intro of every single episode of Pro Church Daily because it is one of the fundamental reasons that Pro Church Tools and Pro Church Daily exists. Navigating a communication shift this monumental that is leaving every single industry colossally different than where it began. Look at music. Look at movies. Look at food. It's all delivered in a box to my house, and I don't have to go to the grocery store anymore. My underwear, delivered in a box to my house.
Wow.
Guess what else comes in a box? A big old mattress.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, apparently all I do is listen to podcasts and buy everything that's being advertised to
the
me.
sponsored ads,
But the point is that we are living through a colossal communication shift. At the same point, the average senior pastor in the Protestant tradition is 54 years old. And so that means that the age of our leaders is significantly different. They grew up in a world where this communication shift hadn't yet existed. And the last time that we saw a communication shift this crazy was the printing press about, 5 centuries ago, half a millennia ago. And what did the church do when the printing press came out? Well, if we study a little bit of history, we know that there were a ton of detractors that said this thing is demonic and we can't print anything. These books will kill us all. But beyond that, eventually we made it work. And the Bible has been the best-selling, most printed book in the history of humankind since that time. It has been translated into 670 languages. The New Testament has been translated into more than 1,500 languages. And our church, the global church, has done a great job of seizing the printing press and using the written word to share the message and hope of Jesus. We now have that opportunity all over again with the internet and with digital.
Wow.
The reason this is important all comes down to a fundamental truth of communication. Probably the most fundamental truth there is. And that is that attention is the single most important, valuable commodity that anyone can possess. It doesn't matter if you have the greatest story of all time, that being the message of Jesus, hope, reconciliation, and redemption, or if you're selling the slap chop. If no one's listening to the message of Jesus, everyone's buying the slap chop because the marketing infomercial is lit.
Wow.
And this is why we have to reevaluate how we are taking our timeless message and how we're communicating it. Are we using timely mediums, or are we using mediums that are just kind of foregone and of the past? And that doesn't mean that mediums like the radio that used to be more popular are useless. But when you're a church of limited resources and you need to maximize those resources, you need to look at where attention is being paid the most and double down on that. And this is why the core saying of Pro Church Tools is seize the 167 hours beyond your Sunday service, because even those that are 50 plus spend on average more than 4 hours every single week on social, according to Pew, and a church service is 1 hour every week, and if people attend every single week, they're still spending 4 times as much time on social as they are in your building. Which means that attention is not being paid on Sunday morning as much as it used to, and yet we're still clamoring, come to us, come see us. Every church's mission statement is to help people love God, love others, and make disciples. The best way to accomplish that, I would contend, is no longer only with a single 1 hour service. You now have access to your entire community 24/7 through social, through the internet. Because that's where attention is being paid. Go to where the attention is. We did a great job of it as a global church with the printing press. To be fair, we had 5 centuries. In those 5 centuries, the Bible became the best and most widely circulated book in that time. We are right now at the very precipice, at the beginning stages of this huge communication shift. And industries have not been prepared. Public transport was overhauled by ride sharing like Lyft and Uber. The food industry is being messed up by food delivery services like Blue Apron. Clothing manufacturers. I just saw an article the other day from H&M. They've got more than $4 billion worth of merchandise that's unsold. Why? Because I'm getting it all shipped to me in a box every single month from another place, because I'm not going to the mall. Right? And This is happening with Netflix. They stole this movie with Joe Pesci, one of the greatest actors of our generation, and they stole it from an industry that would normally make that movie, and Netflix made it themselves. And then they made a billion other movies with Will Smith and others, and this is what Spotify and streaming did. Now music labels can't make as much money. The whole music industry is changing. I saw another article this past week how Spotify has changed it where we don't even know the names of songs anymore because we just have them on shuffle. We listen to them.
Of course.
I don't even know the name of that song, but it's on the playlist. I'll get it.
Yeah.
Your church, my church, Alex's church are not immune to this monumental communication shift. To make this work, you need three things. One, recognize that attention is the most valuable commodity that your church can possess. Reverse engineer. Where does that attention being paid? Go there. It's just easier than trying to get attention where it's not being paid.
Right.
Second, recognize we're living through the biggest communication shift in the last 500 years, yet we're being led by people that are a lot older. That's not a bad thing innately, but if someone grew up in a time that the world was very different, it's perhaps likely that they may best be able to understand and grasp this communication shift. They can be an amazing leader, and I know some 50-plus-year-olds that are way better at social than I am, so it's not across the board categorical, but it's just a fact that if you grew up in a different world, change gets more difficult the older that you get. And so we need to be helping, as millennials, as younger people, as Gen Z, we need to be helping our older leaders because they're way better at leading than we are because they've been at it for so long.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't understand this communication. Step up and help them understand.
Yeah.
And then finally, seize the 167 hours beyond your Sunday service. People are waiting for you to share the message of Jesus with them there. Let's do, as millennials and Gen Z, what generations before us did with the printing press. Let's share the message of Jesus, this timeless message that will never change in timely mediums where people are paying attention.
Yeah, and for us millennials, this is something we have to remember and consider that for the most part we're digital natives, meaning that we've always grown up with a device, whether it was 10 times the size of the one I'm holding in my hand or whatever, but we've always had cordless phones. We can, you and I probably can't remember not having a computer in our home. And sure, the technology has advanced, and now computers look a lot different than they did when you and I first got our first computer. But we've always had
shouts to Windows 98,
right, and dial-up internet. But we've always had the internet, and for our leaders, for the most part, based off this data that says the average senior pastor in our denomination is 54 years old. They are not digital natives. They have not grown up with this just as we have, just always knowing it. And so they kind of went through that transition where there was no internet, now there's internet. And so they may have got lost along the way. So for you and me, and when it comes to communicating this to our senior leadership who are not digital natives like we are, I feel like it's important that we keep that at the forefront of our perspective and deliver this information with just like a ton of grace, because this is common to us. This is all we've known, but this is not all that your pastor has ever known. And so this may still even be a new concept to him or her. And so let's have these conversations and go through this process with just so much grace and take the time that it takes to do this well and educate your pastor and explain things once, twice, 3 times, 4 times until they get it. That's okay, because they have such a different perspective than we have. And so if we can maintain that perspective, I think it'll help this transition a little bit better.
I always like to use the analogy of this period right now being like the period of the pioneers. Mm-hmm. We are brand new in a brand new land. And when the pioneers first came to North America, things were not as they are now. Things were more difficult. Some of them came to Canada and were like, what did we do?
Yeah.
It is cold here, and I don't know how to make it through this winter. Wait, winter never ends? This is a terrible decision. But we figured it out.
Right.
We're in that in-between period right now. And in a blink of an eye, our senior leadership has aged 10 years on average over the last quarter century. That pace just can't keep up. Mm-hmm. Eventually, more younger leaders are going to step up as people retire. It's just going to happen. In the blink of an eye, it's going to happen. Right now, we're in this in-between period. And it's a little bit awkward because, you as a young person, I as a young person, we think we know what's up based on everything that's happening. But the older people are like, yeah, but we're in charge. And again, these are generalizations for the most part, but we're in this in-between period. If we can figure this out now, you're going to get a huge leg up than if you figure it out in 10 years by necessity.
Right.
We have the luxury right now to be the early movers and figure it out now.
Right.
If you're a pioneer and you went to Manhattan and set up shop there, well, you were in a good place in a couple centuries down the road. If you figure this out now, you'll have a huge leg up. Because it's not if you figure it out, it's when you figure it out. This is not changing. This is the beginning. It's only going to be more like this. Make your moves now. Set yourself up for the future.
So good.
That'll do it for today's episode of Pro Church Daily. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. Make sure to subscribe to the Pro Church Tools channel so you never miss another video.
And if you like this video, why don't you go ahead and smash the like button?
Smash it! See you tomorrow. Like the video. Wait, do you say that?
I see.
Ah! Here?
Subscribe the video.
I
Like
say
the
subscribe.
video. Share the video. Download the video.
They actually shut down 3 days ago.
What?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? How am I gonna show videos at church that I don't have the license to show?
Let's look it up after this. Someone said they're gone. Ready?
Yeah.